Google's acting like a school bully, and the worst thing is it's getting AI to do the job for it. Yep, that's AI, cold-hearted decision-making done by a robot. So that means your Google reviews are all at the hands of AI, and that means your reputation too. And no doubt the cheaters are still gaming the system. So in this video I'm going to show you exactly what's happening and why this matters even more than perhaps you realise, and also how you can protect yourself against Google's AI. Because if you don't know how to handle the AI, which is Gemini, that Google's using, then you put your business at risk. Once you understand the signals it's using, you can stop the damage and use AI to your advantage. So what is actually happening? Well, to understand this, I want to take you back to the time when I was about 6 years old, and it was lunchtime at school, and the school bully, Scott Lakey, was up to mischief. And this girl showed up crying, holding a teacher's hand.
She said someone had pushed her off the climbing frame.
Now, before I could even open my mouth, Scott Lakey was there with his finger saying and pointing to me, saying I did it. I mean, I hadn't even been outside. But guess who the teacher believed? Not the quiet kid who was telling the truth, but the one with the loudest voice, the bully, Scott Lakey. And just like that, my reputation for me was wrecked. And you could say that was the first fake review that I ever got. But here's the scary thing, that Google's actually doing the same thing with AI, pointing things out and then making accusations and ruining the reputation of people. But the difference is the bully is AI. In fact, the bully has a name. It's called Gemini. Google's shiny new Gemini AI, which actually can be really powerful, is beginning to sniff out what it thinks are fake reviews. And it's been particularly asked to look out for fake reviews, for sneaky edits and spammy business profiles. And let's be honest, that sounds great. That's exactly what we'd like to be done. But it's not doing that well. In fact, it's already backfired because I found that I had 17 genuine reviews removed by its bot in the past few months. Just gone, no explanation, no warnings, just disappeared. And so that's why this really matters to your business. I actually got one fake review that wasn't removed, and I had to report it to Gemini, the bots, to eventually remove it. It's about dog walking, and I'm a web design business, so it made no sense, but they did eventually remove it. So let me ask you this question. If AI is the judge, the jury, the executor, how safe is your business? And what if you're next? And look at the stats that Gemini's evolved in the last year since it's been employed. It's got 240 million reviews deleted, 900,000 user accounts shut down, and millions of edits and profiles blocked. And now Google is using Gemini to even turn off the ability to get reviews for businesses. And as you can see here, this business absolutely can't even get reviews now. And when I checked it recently, the business has now been closed down. So businesses will disappear as suddenly its supply of reviews gets cut off altogether. And so this is if Google suspects something fishy, it's taking quite big action. And that's great if it's getting it right. But even if you've done nothing wrong and it's taken a sniff at your business and it suspects it, it's very hard to talk to someone at Google to get anything done. It's very hard to report it or get support or any communication with Google, because it just ignores a lot of genuine small businesses when they first complain. But there is a way around this, because if you know what Gemini is actually tracking down, if you know what it's smelling out, then there's a good chance it won't find it with your business. So what are the 3 things you can do now that will make sure that you're okay in Gemini's eyes? Well, here's the red flags that it's looking for. Number 1, repetitive phrases in your reviews. So if you get the same reviews using the same words, a cut and paste job, that may be one of the causes as to why it's detected as fake reviews. The second thing I call review bursts. You know, the ones where suddenly 20 or 30 come in at once, then a month goes by, and then another 40 or 50. Now, I think that can possibly happen, but Google doesn't like it, and Gemini's been employed to sniff that one out too. And then the third area is new accounts. So if you've got a brand new Google account, then there's a chance that as reviews come in, it's very hard to be trusted right from the start. So new accounts tend to get sniffed out quickly. And so most Business owners don't know this is happening, but now you do. And after I lost those 17 real reviews, then I started to try and get them back. And there's a video that I've done on that. But it's made me be really more aware of how Google works through reviews, what works and what doesn't work. And I've started looking at thousands of reviews, trying to understand what patterns Google's detecting. And after speaking with many business owners, I built a strategy that I think will be okay with all these AI changes, and it will future-proof it too. So that brings us on to how do you protect yourself with this new AI from Gemini and make sure your business isn't going to be affected? Well, first of all, just consider it's not all about getting reviews. That's the old style, that's the old game. Think more in terms of the quality of your reviews, and think in terms of also how useful are they for your customers. So you need to collect smarter, not faster. You need to train your customers to write reviews that Gemini will trust. You need to space them out over time and obviously mix the language, mix the text, avoid anything that could really result in an AI red flag. And finally, create a system that Google sees as genuine. As you build your reputation and trust and authenticity in Google, it won't be suspecting you as often as it does the newbies that come along. And that's exactly the type of step-by-steps that I go through on my workshop, and where I train people to build a strategy to build genuine reviews over time. So I'll put a link to that down below if you wanted to look at that workshop. So if you ever get that sinking feeling when you get reviews and then suddenly you realise it's 1 star or a fake review, or suddenly reviews were showing and are no longer showing, well then that workshop works for you. Now, Scott Lakey may have wrecked my reputation when I was 6, but of course that was only from my perspective. But I'm not going to let Google ruin my reputation, and you shouldn't do that for yours too. So together we can outsmart this bully and make sure that we're there for the long term. And my workshop takes you step by step in doing that. But if you're not ready for that workshop, maybe you're ready to get rid of some fake reviews. Now, if you want to know a practical way to do that, this video will take you step by step through how you can remove fake reviews. So I'll see you next on this video or at the workshop.